Hi, Megan.
Welcome to Bad Movies Rock.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, welcome to Bad Movies Rock. I'm sorry, were you expecting more?
Thank you, yes.
Was I why is it always on me? Why is it always on me?
It's really funny because I was about to cut... I was about to come in with something and I was like, oh, I'm going to let her go off because that's what usually happens. I'm going to get in trouble if I start to interrupt. And then, I stopped myself.
Didn't interrupt and you got in trouble for not interrupting. And
Yes,
Amber wins again. I am the champion of fuckery.
I was going to say, like, boy, I mean, it's Bad Movies Rock, but I'm not sure that we watched a movie. It's, I don't know what this was.
Oh, we're just launching straight into it.
It's just something I was thinking.
It was visual.
Mm-hmm.
It had lines and people talking to each other.
Yep.
And scenes.
Yep.
But at no point did I feel like I am watching a movie, good or bad. It was more, I am watching somebody's fever dream, and I can tell you the precise demographic of the person. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But it definitely felt from start to finish as though at some point, just like a sweaty, tiny child was going to start up in bed, and we would realize that it was their dream. This was their whole dream. None of it was real. And they're late for school.
Yes, of course they are. Delightful.
Well, Megan.
Yes, Amber. Can I backtrack just a moment and talk to you how I embezzled like $10 from your brother?
Holy shit. Wow. This is...
Sorry, DJ.
This is why you can't do the intros. Because first you want to talk about the movie first, but then you want to do ridiculous pre-movie conversation. This is... You are worse than the movie we just watched.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's just par for the course for...
Because I want to talk about how I got an email from Apple saying that you were too good for a fucking family group. So maybe you can explain that shit to me, Megan.
Well, okay. So here's the thing, folks. All right. TJ very kindly added me to your family Apple group, meaning that I could watch like Apple TV, and like I suppose if like any of us bought, you know, movies or TV shows on Apple, we could like share them and watch them together, whatever. So that was very kind. He did this like last year, and I hadn't really thought about it much until in the past couple weeks. Well, I'm not sure I want to divulge this.
You started up a shameful habit. Just admit it.
So let me start in the order that I found out about it, which is I got an email from TJ, and like TJ's in Australia, so the email to me text came to me at like 4 a.m. And so like I woke up, you know, and like I tend to check my phone these days when I wake up, you know, and I was like, oh, a text from TJ. And then it was about how he was wondering if there were purchases that I had made in a unnamed game because his credit card was being charged for my purchases within this unnamed game.
Just say what it is. Just name your shame.
Okay, it's Candy Crush, y'all. And I didn't, you know, I don't know why I got back into it, but I did. And I did the stupid thing with the microtransactions, but those usually go to my own stupid credit card. But apparently what happens is that if you're in a family, in Apple family, then the person who starts the Apple family, which was TJ, has their card on file and everything gets charged to that card. And there's no way for me to like unselect it or like, you know, like say, oh, I want this to go to my account. No, it has to go to this one account unless I buy myself gift cards and then it comes off like, and put the gift card on the account and then it'll take it off the gift card before it takes it off.
But if you buy a gift card with the Apple account, then it will be charged to TJ.
Yes, I would have to do it on another, I would have to do it from another source.
Amazing.
And then, Yeah.
Amazing.
It's ridiculous.
So so what happened here was that Apple violated your privacy and your shameful microtransactions.
I know. I'm so glad I didn't buy something like, I mean, actually, I don't know that this isn't the worst thing I could have bought. I actually can't really think of something that would be worse, like, than being found out for spending way too much money on microtransactions for a stupid game.
I mean, and way too much money is any money. It's not as though you dropped $50. It's more just you did something that you know is silly and you shouldn't do. But at the time you wanted to do it, and it was between you and Candy Crush. And Apple said, no, I'm going to tell everybody.
I'm going to tell everybody about this. And so, yeah. And here's the other thing. It never there was no, you're using this card you're using a different card to buy this thing. Like, this is through the games app. This wasn't even buying an app. This is through the game anyway. And it never told me, hey, you're using a MasterCard, which is not my typical card, which would have made me go, what? And so I had no knowledge of this until this text from TJ. Anyway, and then I looked into it, and there's no fucking way to change it. And so then in my frustration and embarrassment, I removed myself from the family.
Now, Megan, at this point...
And then what happened, Amber?
Apple then got the whole family involved in this matter. Before, it was just between you and Big Papa TJ, head of the family. But it turns out, fair listeners, when you leave someone's family group, it doesn't just email the head of the family group. It emails everyone in the group, so that if you choose to leave, it informs the subject line of the email is,
oh boy,
this person is no longer in your family group. They have removed themselves. You don't even have to read the email to know that you and everyone you love has been rejected by this person. I knew about it. Mom knew about it. She was worried. She was hurt. I think she's still reeling.
Understandable.
Holy bugger, Apple. Damn. You were just trying to start some shit with these policies.
It was an impressive amount of dominoes that fell from me deciding that I wanted to play more Candy Crush that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It got my brother in Australia involved. Mm-hmm. And then it ripped the still beating heart from my mother.
Yeah, I know.
With your betrayal and rejection of our family.
Yeah. And I had to remove myself. From the family because inevitably I'm going to do something stupid like that again.
Well, it means you can't buy anything on your phone.
Right. Exactly. And here's the thing, I'm saying all this stuff, but TJ was obviously hey, I'm just checking in because I don't want this to be some sort of, whatever scam or a incorrect charge or whatever. You can buy whatever you want. I don't care. And, but it means I can't buy anything without it being charged to TJ, which is just a weird thing. It's a weird thing, Apple.
I'm sure this was a mistake. I'm sure this wasn't just some long con.
I know. All these years of friendship.
To embezzle less than $10 from my brother.
Haha. It's all come to fruition.
That's commitment.
Yep. Commitment to the bit. And then I send the rejection email and I'm out.
Like a ghost in the night who says, I'm fucking out, bitches! And then fades away.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then you never heard from Meghan ever again. Oh, that would have been so funny, Amber. Retrospectively, it would have been so funny.
Sure.
If I disappeared from your life at that point.
Yeah, no, that would have been absolutely hilarious. Only hilarious.
Yeah.
I would have it would have been a Goodwill Hunting moment for me. It would have been Ben Affleck showing up to do the podcast and you don't come. And at first, there's a glimmer of sadness. But then I smile.
Yep. She's off to better things. She did the long con and it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. And then I just slow clap in a quiet room staring at a blank screen.
Yep. Staring at an email that says you've been rejected from the family.
My little girl's growing up. Which leads us to our movie today.
Movie.
Technically a movie. It is considered a motion picture.
It is. We watched X State of the Union, the 2005
the sequel
movie.
to X.
The sequel to X.
The second one it is a trilogy series.
Yes, it is.
We've watched the first and the third, something I don't think I've ever in my life done before.
Yeah.
We watched the first and the third movie. Both of those star Vin Diesel, but this one starred Ice Cube, and I skipped it. And we regretted it after watching the third movie and seeing Ice Cube show up and feeling, we were missing something. We weren't getting the whole story. We didn't earn the moment where he shows up at the end of the movie with a grenade launcher to assist Vin Diesel and his crew. Yep. So we're like, at some point we realized we have to go back and watch this. And then we went back and watched this and we realized nothing. We were just kind of surprised and confused.
There's confusion from the very start of the movie.
It's amazing.
Where you asked, what is this?
Is this the future? Especially at the beginning of the movie, I feel like after that assault, a kid's going to wake up in his bed and it'll all have been a dream. But no. Okay. We get ahead of ourselves. Meghan.
Sorry. Yes, Amber.
Are you prepared to play Which is Which?
Yes, I am.
I shall read you summaries from IMDb, Metacritic, Amazon, and Amber, and you shall tell me which is which.
Okay.
We begin. NSA agent Augustus Gibbons, Samuel L. Jackson, fresh off the success of his last renegade recruitment, once again finds himself in need of an outsider. Gibbons and his new agent, Ice Cube, also codenamed X, must track a dangerous military splinter group led by Willem Dafoe that is conspiring to overthrow the U.S. government in the nation's capital. I'm really glad that they specified that they were throwing over the U.S. government in the nation's capital.
In the nation's capital,
Specifically in the nation's capital.
Right. You overthrow the U.S. government from, I don't know, Durham, North Carolina.
D.Darius.X.Stone, a new agent in the X program, is sent to Washington, D.C. to stop a coup attempt against the President of the United States.
Okay.
Cool. In this high-octane sequel to X, Ice Cube stars as Darius.Stone, a preteen boy's action man fantasy brought to the big screen. With a sixth-grade understanding of how the government works, the laws of thermodynamics, current hot-button social issues, and how adults talk to each other, this movie will take you on a wild ride. Also, fuck the first X and Vin Diesel in particular.
Yep. No, that seems all completely accurate.
That was written by the filmmakers.
Yes, indeed.
And the final. Take the action and adventure of the first X, triple it, and you've got the sequel starring Ice Cube, Scott Speedman, and Willem Dafoe.
What?
You would have thought I'd written that one if I hadn't done mine first, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That one's amazing. That was
okay.
I have to read it again just for myself.
Please do.
Take the action and adventure of the first X, triple it, and you've got the sequel.
Yeah.
Woo! Sorry.
That's very good.
Sorry. Okay.
Very good. Metacritic, IMDb, Amber, Amazon?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Telling you to triple the X, tripleplex.
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like Amazon's not usually that I guess it does go back and forth.
I do appreciate...
It almost seems like a little too much investment for Amazon, but...
Which I love, considering the movie they decided to get invested on.
Yeah, true.
This is the one they decided to hype.
Yeah.
This one.
Excellent.
This movie.
Hold
on. Now I'm just curious, since we weren't playing Which is Which when we did the original X. Or much less the sequel. So let's do... Oh, God. Don't just type in X.
Why not, Amber?
Even into Amazon. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they picked a rough movie to Google.
Yeah. In The Return of Xander Cage, it's actually kind of fine. When a group of lethal mercenaries steal a high-tech weapon that poses a global threat, the world needs a super spy, Xander Cage. Recruited back into action, Xander leads a team of death-defying adrenaline junkies on a mission to save the world. That is, not actually that Amazon-y. But for some reason, in the video game fever dream brought to life that is X State of the Union, they decided to really hype that shit.
Yeah.
I think they were paid
Yeah,
off.
they did.
Oh, Donnie Yen. We need to watch that one again.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen, Tony Jaa. Come on. Come on.
I know.
That cast, though.
That cast, though.
But that's not the movie we're doing right now. The movie we're doing right
No,
now
you're not.
is XXX State of the Union. You have succeeded and triumphed once again in the game of which. And I do believe we are ready to go to the Critics' Corner. Meghan, take it away.
Yeah, it's a 17% for the critics and 32% for the audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
The critics on Metacritic have it at 37 and the users have it at 61.
61 seems a little high.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things I can say about the reviews here on Rotten Tomatoes is they certainly say a lot about Vin Diesel, who is not in this movie.
Meghan, he's not in this movie.
No.
He was in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know that because they very passingly mention his character in a throwaway line. We'll talk about it. And then consistently reference him in comparison to Ice Cube in a very intentional way.
Yes.
Let's call it not complimentary.
Yeah. They seem to be...
Seems to be some rage.
Yeah, they seem to not be over the fact that Vin Diesel backed out of this movie.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
This blurb is great. Gets straight to the point. It's from the Philadelphia Inquirer. David Hiltbrand. Appalling sequel.
Okay.
Ooh. This one, like the one next, the Washington Post, Stephen Hunter. So primitive. It must have been written in lizard blood on animal skin.
They had that one there too. I saw that one.
What are you up to, Stephen Hunter? Did you just like go to the Smithsonian? Or what are you up to? What was going on in your life that you felt like that was the metaphor for XXX State of the Union?
Lizard blood written on animals. Yeah.
Primitive?
Don't know.
Primitive in what sense? In the skills of the filmmaker? And just interesting. Mm-hmm. I love it when people pull out the nonsense to describe nonsense.
Yes, which is what these websites do. Amber, give Vin Diesel, the star of the original XXX, credit for bailing out and opting to do the pacifier instead. Sadly enough, he made the right choice.
Oof. Ouch.
Yep. Thank you, Michael Compton.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
This one actually kind of touches on what you and I will eventually talk about, but I think in a way that is not happy with it.
Okay.
Liam Lacey of the Globe and Mail. The most gratifying thing about XXX State of the Union is that nobody wastes much time on character, motivation, plausibility, dialogue, or sex. All that slow stuff that drags down ordinary movies. You feel like this movie should have sex in it, Liam?
Yeah.
You're mad that this movie about a man trying to stop a coup doesn't have more fucking.
Mm-hmm. A coup of the U.S. government taking place, no less, in the nation's capital.
Right in the nation's capital, Meghan.
Yeah.
And weirdly, there is not enough fucking for old Liam in this movie about a coup.
Yeah. Well, it is called XXX, so, maybe he got the wrong idea.
10 times too much. A non-stop orgy of bullets, bombs, and booty.
And booty?
That aims low and hits the bullseye with enough firepower to sink the Bismarck. Where is the booty?
There's no booty in this movie.
Is actually a shocking dearth of booty in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very, very specifically, no.
Mark Savlov, come on, man.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I feel like he might have skimmed through it and just assumed from the title that it should have booty.
Yeah.
And unlike Liam, who did watch it start to finish, did not have his illusions shattered.
So sad and so mad about it.
Yeah, Liam was very sad about the lack of sex.
Yeah. Well, the BBC.com says, viewed on its own trashy terms, it succeeds brilliantly.
If you compare it only to itself, it is a smashing success of itself.
It has done what it wanted to do.
Most of them say it's absurd, it's a parody, it's crazy. A lot of people like the visual effects. The stunt work was pretty tip-top.
Yeah.
And
very obviously stunt work.
Very obviously stunt work.
It's also, watching this movie after watching, The Raid and other movies that we've been watching. It's specifically obvious right now when it's not the actor doing the thing because you're nowhere near their face.
I mean, even with the transporter, Statham was doing most of his stuff.
Yeah, and he was. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yep.
Ooh, Christian Science Monitor got in on this one. David Sterrett would like you to know that most of the movie is standard action fare, but the political commentary is interesting when it's allowed to surface.
Oh, well, you know what, Amber, I think that's a good jumping off point. Let's get out of the critics' corner and really delve into the politics of this movie and how well it really addressed a lot of really topical conundrums in our life.
I stand by what that brilliant summarist said.
Yeah, the third one was beautiful. Mm-hmm.
This movie definitely possesses a 6th grade understanding of science, technology, civics, thermodynamics, social issues, and just adult speak, as well as sexuality. I didn't actually include that either. It also has a very preteen boy understanding of sex times. There is no sex. And while the women are at all times fully clothed, their cleavage is on display with all of their costuming, but they never have less than full clothes on. And there is exactly one kiss. And the main character makes it very clear that, well, he's been in prison for 9 years. The first thing he really wants is a burger and a shake. And then when he reunites with his love interest at the end of the movie, and they kiss the one time, he says, and that'll hold me for 9 more years.
That might be true for some people, but boy howdy, that's not at least it does not fulfill Liam's expectations of this movie.
That's not what Liam was expecting in the least.
No.
Liam was pretty sure that there should be a lot more bow chicka bow bow. Much the first movie certainly had.
You know what? I will give Liam that. I will give Liam that
it did establish an expectation. But this was a PG-13 movie, written by a 13-year-old, probably younger actually.
Yes.
Oh boy. So it is a preteen understanding of sexuality. And it almost evinced a lack of interest in women.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a woman bad guy who gets offed quickly.
Had no backstory.
Had no backstory except she was evil.
Backstory, motivations, none of it existed. She was just a pretty white lady.
And then his former love interest who he vaguely interacts with. Yeah.
She supplies him with cars and then asks how fast they go, and she can do car speak. She says words and numbers about cars and their specifications, so that's...
Yeah, so she's cool. Yeah. She's just Amber, she's just one of the guys. She comes in and she knows her car talk.
Yeah, and she shows up with cars when needed. Cool cars. But that's not the only thing that there seems to be a sort of youthful understanding of. Meghan?
Yes.
I understand. That if the president dies, the vice president becomes president.
Yes.
I even understand that if somebody else dies, if the vice president dies, then somebody else gets to be president. And then there's another person after that. And then eventually you get to, was it the Secretary of Defense, right? You have to kill a certain number of people and then he gets to be the president. And that's the plot of this movie.
Yeah, that is the plot of this movie. Yep.
That, and if you have perhaps liberal-leaning parents, you may also be subject, or just like a very engaged and charismatic teacher who does like your history and civics lessons. You may become aware that in the history of the U.S. as it was founded, the founding fathers are like, fuck the rest of the world. We're just going to focus on our shit. Isolationist doctrine all the way, bitches. I learned that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And that, the U.S. is powerful and rich, but we don't like to get involved. But we spend a shit ton on military. All this money goes to defense spending instead of international aid. So we just like to be big, scary men with guns and lots of soldiers. But what we really should be doing is offering resources to the world so that our enemies become our friends.
I mean, you say it like that, but that is what we should do. But it's a very simplistic, like, way of looking. And so in this movie, the president, Peter Strauss, is kind of espousing all of that. And then our evil doer, Willem Dafoe, who plays General Deckard, he's so mad. He's so mad that that the president just wants to make friends with people. He wants to take money away from, war profiteering. He's willing to kill the president down the line to making him president in order to stop these practices.
And to be clear, the president's evil plan in the eyes of this general is to decrease, not completely cut, but decrease military spending and spend more on international aid because he this is going to surprise you, but he gives a State of the Union address.
What?
In which he says, understanding, compromise, and compassion should be what we use to win battles, not the sacrifice of our young men and women. If we win the hearts and minds of our enemies, we can turn them into allies. And as he's delivering this speech, it pans over to Willem Dafoe, who just has murder eyes. Like, fuck you and your compassion. Compassion.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you and a bunch of people who just are in my way because it's my turn.
Yeah, I'm also going to kill the vice president and the Speaker of the House and whoever. I'm going to kill them all because... How? You're going to cut defense spending? You monster!
Yep.
So it is definitely kind of a very simplified understanding of the politics in the country. It's not wrong, but it is...
no, it's not wrong, but it's very, isolation doctrine is just, thrown out there out of kind of nowhere.
Yes!
And
I have not heard that. Since I was in...
Since social studies,
Yes, social studies. Before you ever took history, you took social studies.
Social studies. And Amber, I mean, I think the one thing that I will say is that there's a real understanding of what the EPA does. So
I threw that line in your face because I thought that was hilarious.
It's
because
very
it's
funny.
Such a throwaway. I don't even know if you heard it when they said it.
I caught part of it, but I didn't fully... Yeah. What did they say, Amber? What did they say?
Early in the movie, as they're establishing White House goings-on, we see the president, and one of his aides comes up to him. He says, "Oh, you have a meeting with the EPA at noon." And the president responds dismissively, "A tree is a tree. How many do they need to look at?"
So what the EPA goes off and does, they look at trees.
And then they want you to look at trees, too.
They brought the pictures of trees for you to look at.
Mr. President, look at this tree.
I see.
It is part of the environment. Look at this other tree. It is also a part of the environment that we should protect.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
And none of it is wrong in the sense that I'm a liberal person, and so all of these things make sense to me as a liberal person. It's just completely and utterly lacking in any nuance whatsoever, is presented in this amazingly fundamentally black and white aspect of here's this evil general who will do whatever it takes to make the military bloated, including murdering civilians and other people just to grab power so that they don't take some money away from the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and the Marines.
Yes. Yeah. What about the NRA, Amber?
Well, they do have very strong views. How does the NRA end up in this movie, Megan?
It's a luncheon. It's a lunch date that they're having.
But it's even getting to the lunch date.
Yes, fair.
I don't think we can talk about the plot of this movie because it is insane.
Oh, there's none. We've done as much as we can. Willem Dafoe wants to kill everybody so that he is now the president, and Ice Cube as Darius.Stone, the new Triple-X, is going to stop him. And that's all. That's all that matters.
Like, Samuel Jackson is still in this movie, and he was the head of the Triple-X program and all of it.
Yes.
And he's in an underground facility beneath a horse farm in the beginning of this that is assaulted by what I have to describe as sort of Cobra Commander cadets with just full body suits and magic hole-making gadgets and flying shoulder drones.
Right, technology 10 generations beyond what the NSA Amber has.
They never explain how they have that technology, nor do we ever see anything like it again later.
No.
Including during this coup that seems very important. Mm-hmm. But they do attack this underground facility that seems to solely be a Triple-X facility that is filled with human people, including Gibbons, Samuel Jackson's character.
Yeah.
But we also know they do not currently have a Triple-X agent.
Right.
Because they have to recruit one after it's assaulted. Mm-hmm. So what are they all doing?
So what are all of those people doing? All of those people who, by the way, Gibbons just like takes the one guy who's near the car,
the magic
with him.
Escape car that's underground.
Yes, and leaves everybody else to die. It doesn't seem to be upset by it ever, or
every single
really
human
refer
person
to
in
them.
that building does get slaughtered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for him and the white guy. Yeah. Who's also from the first movie. And they escape in the magic underground car that has missiles.
Right. Yes.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm. I want a car, but I want it to have missiles on it.
Yeah, it's got missiles. It's a missile car. Mm-hmm. Why is it underground? Because there's a door, and you need the missiles to blow open the door so it can get out of the underground. Okay, Steven. Okay. Yeah. Now, your dad is my boss, so okay.
Yeah.
We'll make a missile car. It's gonna be purple. Okay, Steven.
Sure.
It's a purple missile car.
Yeah.
That's 100%. We're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
But the attack, we don't necessarily know why that happened, but we do learn that it had to have been Willem Dafoe's people trying to take out Gibbons, except they don't want to kill Gibbons. They want to frame Gibbons. So they're kidnapping Gibbons, but making it look like he's dead, as well as disappearing other member.
Oh boy, Amber, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
But it almost is, because it's meaningless at the end of the day. Willem Dafoe's character was the commanding officer of a unit, and he wanted to do a bad thing to civilians. And so part of the unit, including Ice Cube's carrier, Darius.Stone, and Gibbons, rebelled and said, no, we're not doing this. Mm-hmm. Darius winds up in prison for saying no. Somehow Gibbons winds up the head of the Triple-X program in the NSA.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe winds up the fucking Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't see why you're balking at this, Amber. This seems totally cromulent.
And Dafoe's plan, I haven't bothered to learn his character's name.
No,
is
Deckard.
Deckard's plan is to kill a whole bunch of people so he can be president, but then get away with it by making it look like it was Gibbons and the other members of his ex-team.
Yeah.
Who he has kidnapped over the course of the past year and will somehow implicate by putting them there.
Right. Yeah.
That's his plan.
That's his whole plan.
And Gibbons seems to be piecing it together, but isn't quite there yet when the facility's attacked. And maybe that's why it's attacked. So then him and the white guy he saves have to go get Ice Cube, Darius, out of prison to help them figure things out.
Yeah.
And but then Gibbons gets maybe murdered, but really kidnapped. And Darius and white guy have to figure it out on their own. And in the process of that, they see some pictures. And in one of the pictures is a whole bunch of people.
Yep.
And they go to Gibbons's funeral, and they see a whole bunch of people. And they're like, which one is Charlie? Because someone had written Charlie on the picture. And Ice Cube, apropos of no observable feature of that picture, says that white lady is clearly Charlie.
Clearly Charlie.
So then he follows her.
Is he wrong, Amber?
He's not
he
wrong. He's not wrong. And he follows her to a restaurant and sits down at her table to chat her up.
Uh-huh.
And that's when a guy from the NRA comes up for some reason.
Uh-huh. Who talks about his after-school programs teaching kids how to use guns.
Yeah. No, that's what he's saying as he comes up to the table. He's apologizing for being late because it's just they're really getting some pushback on the after-school teach kids how to use guns program that the NRA is doing. And then he immediately looks at Darius and says, "Hey, how do we get more of you people?" Sorry, he says African Americans. But he's such a you people guy. I'm just sort of...
Yeah. His intonation was you people.
How do we get more African Americans to show up at our events? And here's some of that fun political commentary that David Starrett was talking about. Ice Cube tells him that he needs the NRA people to stop listening to country music, stop burning crosses, and stop shooting black folk. Or he could just hold a cookout with some free fried food.
Yep.
Social commentary!
So, I mean, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Very specific. The country music thing seemed a little...
Yeah.
Muddies the waters a little bit.
Sure, but yeah.
Not that there isn't plenty of racist country music, but there's also plenty of racist other kinds of music.
Yeah, true.
Country music is not specifically a racist medium. Social commentary.
Yeah. But again, like you said, all of this is a preteen understanding of anything that's going on. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, dear listeners, like, we're saying all this garbage stuff in your faces or in your ear holes. Like, I'm not mad at this movie.
No.
like, here's the funny part is, like, all of this adds up to a ridiculous amount of ridiculousness. And like, lines and line reading that is just absurdist. Like, it's almost like an art project. Like, we haven't even gotten to Scott Speedman. We haven't even gotten to
Scott Speedman, who makes some choices in this movie.
Who's a delight. It's Kyle Steele, Amber.
Kyle Steele. He sounds like he plays lacrosse, but also boxes and can shoot, and maybe he knows car speak. He's Agent Kyle Steele.
Yeah. He's from the NSA. He kind of comes in briefly like this, like, Alec Baldwin to Darius Stone's Sean Connery in Red October. Like, he's going to be like the inside man who believes the outside person actually wants to do good. It's very brief that actually holds true. But I would also say that he's like the real love interest in this movie. There's no stronger relationship building than there is between Darius Stone and Kyle Steele.
And it is heavily influenced. Our understanding and fanficking of this is heavily influenced by Scott Speedman's line readings in this particular movie. It all begins. Agent Steele seems to be the agent in charge of investigating the break-in at the XXX facility. And Darius has to go back in to collect the microfilm with the pictures of Charlie, I guess. And in doing that, he blows up a car, and then he blows up some boats, and then he takes one of the boats, and then he winds up jumping one of the boats onto a bridge, onto a car, and then the whole thing explodes, and it's great.
Of course it does.
It's great.
You put a boat on a car, and everything explodes, yeah.
Yep. And we have Agent Steele watching all of these things happen. And as Darius speeds off in the boat after blowing up the other boats, he delivers this line. In this way,
yes.
To be clear, a man who is probably a criminal just broke into a secure facility in which a bunch of people were just murdered, stole some shit, and I am an NSA agent in charge of investigating this and probably stopping this guy.
Right.
This is not the line reading I would expect.
What is it, Ember?
He blows up my car? He blows up my boats? Who is this guy? And in my head I'm hearing, and why am I so turned on by the way he chooses to read this line? It's not a, who is this guy? Or, who is this guy? It's, who is this guy?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. And they also choose to bring him in. He when they bring Steele in, he does the exact same thing that Nona Gay, who plays Lola Jackson, D.Darius.Stone's former love interest, he comes in talking cars at Darius Stone to, like, you know, endear himself to him. Like, he does the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, and he gets cooler as it goes. At first, he's just the button-up guy in the suit investigating the loose cannon, Darius Stone, who is, his name is Darius Stone. He is the new Triple X, so technically he's Triple X. Only last time Triple X was named Xavier, and he was called X anyway because it was the first letter of his name. So you got Xavier, you got X.
Yep.
And you got Triple X. In this movie, he is technically Triple X, but the only person who calls him X is the one white guy who was saved from the facility who does the gadgets.
Right.
The rest of the time, he's called D or Darius or Darius Stone. So he's D.Darius.X.Stone. We could just...
Darius.
He's D.Darius.X.Stone.
D.Darius.X.Stone. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's, D.Darius.X.Stone. By the way, if Darius and Kyle ended up being a family, their kids could be the Stone Steels.
Oof.
Anyway. It's just beautiful.
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 He's the counterpoint, the buttoned-up Yale lacrosse scholarship white boy NSA agent to the, streetwise ex-Navy SEAL imprisoned for something he did, but it was for a good reason, D.Darius.X.Stone.
Yeah.
But as we get to know a little bit more about old Kyle Steele, we learn, he knows car speak. And he's just gonna walk right into a house during a hostage situation to have a conversation with D.Darius.X.Stone. Because he wants the truth. He doesn't care about the politics. And then once he decides D.Darius.X.Stone he's on the right side of things, then he hunts him down inexplicably to the place he's been hiding this whole time. Because he's good at his job. And that's when he busts out the amazing car speak.
Yeah.
100 PSI, RPMI, octane, injection, pressure, sports ball. And for some reason, that has nothing to do with anything. We also see a scene of old Agent Steele doing some shirtless boxing in a gym.
Well, of course we would.
Doing some sweaty, shirtless boxing in a gym. He's doing a real good job. He's pugilizing with the best of them, doing some workout stuff. Has nothing to do with anything. He doesn't later need those boxing skills for any particular reason. He's just shooting things.
It's just a gratuitous shot of his torso.
His amazingly oiled,
oh boy,
beautifully combative torso.
Oh. And we also find out that D.Darius.X.Stone is an expert marksman. But who beat his top score, Amber?
Well, it turns out that old Agent Steele beat his top scorer back in 96. Oh my gosh!
What?
He's also an expert marksman who's also kind of competitive? Oh my gosh. Yes. This is such a role reserved for the cool-ass love interest in an action movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Gratuitous topless scene.
Yeah.
Mad skills that we learn about slow burn. He's supposed to be the one hunting him, but really he's the one who becomes his ally.
Yeah.
It has all of the beautiful homoerotic energy of the original Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
I mean, those two were the real love interests, let's be honest.
Always, yeah. Yeah.
It's glorious. I wish they wound up together.
I know.
Maybe they do.
I mean, in my headcanon, they do. My headcanon does whatever it wants to. So. Yeah, Amber, I don't know how to wind up this podcast. Let me be honest with you. I think we can just end it now.
No, I do want to mention just a couple of highlights of this insane, all over the place, fever dream of a movie. We've got a prison break that ends with him jumping off a roof onto a helicopter.
Yeah.
We have improvised...
But with a single word from Gibbons, D.Darius.X.Stone knows that means get to somewhere high and jump on the helicopter when it comes to you.
Yeah. He gives him a few code words, and it tells him what he needs to do.
Yeah, sure.
We have, I've already mentioned it, a boat jumping onto a bridge and exploding a car. We have D.Darius.X.Stone sneaking onto an aircraft carrier, finding a bunch of tanks, taking one of those tanks, having a tank fight inside of the carrier, then going up onto the top of the carrier, and then taking the tank and using one of the jet launchers to launch the tank into another tank.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I would also like to say that D.Darius.X.Stone gets on the radio with one of the other like random bad guys. Because otherwise D.Darius.X.Stone is alone in the tank, so he needs to be talking to someone so that they can quip at each other real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you wouldn't get those brilliant lines.
Yeah. You and I have unfinished business, homeboy. Well, with a mouth like yours, hillbilly, you're going to be real popular in prison. Was that your ride? After he blows up one of the vehicles with his tank. No, but you're going to hell in yours. You know, cool stuff like that.
Just real top of the line banter.
Just good, cool stuff. Cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
We also have a car. I'm calling a Shelby Cobra Mustang a car.
How could you?
Oh my gosh.
It's not just a car, it's a Shelby.
50 lashes. We have a Shelby Cobra Mustang chasing a bullet train. Sorry, the president's bullet train.
I'm sorry, Amber, there's a bullet train also in this movie?
There's a bullet train in this movie, Megan. And they use the Mustang to chase the bullet train at 160 miles an hour. And then he blows up the back of the bullet train, jumps the car onto the tracks, shoves the truck into the Mustang into the cavity made by the explosion in the back of the train, then shoots out the windshield of the train, and then jumps from the car into the windshield.
Yeah.
And also there are helicopters following this train.
Yeah, obviously there are. Why wouldn't there be?
And also Exhibit is in this movie.
Yes, he is briefly.
One of D.Darius.X.Stone's friends from the past. He runs a chop shop. And they need to tap him and his boys to help them deal with the massive military force that Willem Dafoe has brought together to stage this coup.
Yeah. Well, how are they going to do that?
With a few trucks, and also they're going to jack a tank because he can jack anything with wheels. If it's got wheels, he can jack it.
Tank doesn't have wheels.
If it's got wheels, he can jack it.
Oh, you said it twice, so yeah. Cool. Got it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So they jack a tank.
They do. Again, not mad at any of this, but like, it just like goes from like, they're in a tank, they're in a bullet train, they're in a Shelby, they're in a boat, like they're in a helicopter. They're just, they're never in one place for more than, or one type of vehicle for more than a few minutes.
We're at a fancy restaurant talking to an NRA guy. Now we're at a fancy party where Ice Cube is standing about 12 inches away from Willem Dafoe's character while listening to him talk about secret plans.
Yep. Don't worry. There's a tray with glasses of champagne in between his ear hole and their mouth holes.
Sure.
So
we're at an underground facility. We're at a chop shop. We're at a high-end car dealership. We're at Gibbons' house and it's exploding. We're at the White House. We're on a bullet train. We're on an aircraft carrier. What is any of this?
No, what is any of this? I would also just like Peter Strauss, who plays the president, is like unfazed by any of it. He doesn't seem to care. He seems bothered, just like annoyed, but like not panicking, not upset,
He is so chill about this. He watches all Secret Service men get gunned down inexplicably. Deckard doesn't kill him when Ice Cube shows up and thwarts him. He could. Instead, he leaves with him on the bullet train and then, gets blown up.
Yeah.
But the entire time, the dialogue in this is incredible, as you may have been able to guess. And people are just going fucking for... Again, it's how a young child would think adults in an action movie are supposed to talk to each other. We were in the same mud and the same blood. I've heard that in other things before, and it was just as stupid then. The president's response to just all of the pontificating of Defoe's Deckard is so dismissive that it finally gets to the point where they're on the bullet train together. Defoe is just fucking pontificating, finally says some shit about, it feels good to get your hands dirty. And the president just looks at him and says, fuck you.
In that exact tone. Yeah, this is a PG-13 movie, and that's where they put their one fuck.
And it was worth it.
Totally worth it.
It's worth it. Mr. President, you can't. The military keeps us strong, and we have to be strong, and I'm getting my hands dirty, and I'm doing it for my country, and I have to sacrifice, and you have to sacrifice, and some eggs have to be broken to build freedom. And it all just boils down to him, the president, finally just looking at him and saying, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck your bullshit.
Yeah, pretty great. Pretty great.
Perhaps my favorite nonsense line, other than the fuck you. Actually, that wasn't nonsense. That was pure poetry.
Yeah.
Is when, at the end of the movie, Ice Cube shares his kiss with Lola. Sorry, D.Darius.X.Stone shares his kiss with Lola.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, you're thinking, they could rekindle and he could stick around. But no, Meghan. He's only good at 100+ with a couple of cops on his tail. And then he leaves. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he leaves.
He does.
There's no explanation of what he's going to go do.
Well, he's only good at 100+ with a couple cops on his tail.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind, he was a Navy SEAL. He was a lieutenant in the Navy SEALs. And while they do establish that he had an earlier record of vandalism, graffiti, car stealing, and resisting arrest, he did then, as an adult, join the Navy SEALs and become a lieutenant. It's almost as if they forgot this wasn't the Fast and the Furious at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me. The other beautiful thing about this movie, which we have mentioned before, their hatred for Vin Diesel is evident in this movie. Their resentment of him is written into multiple lines. There's a throwaway thing in which background characters say, oh, did you hear? Xander Cage, Vin Diesel's character in the first movie, died in Bora Bora. Really? He did? Yep, fucking dead. So that's how they deal with that.
Yes,
And then every time they have a chance, they mention the first Triple X in the new D.Darius.X.Stone's Triple X area. And he's the first guy. He could ski and surf and do all kinds of stunts. What can you do? To which D.Darius.X.Stone replies, yeah, well, things are going to be different around here. I don't play with my life. I'd rather play with yours.
That's nonsense. What you just said is nonsense.
And when Gibbons is trying to decide, they need a new Triple X, he exclaims, no skaters, no snowboarders this time. We need someone more dangerous and with more attitude.
Wow. They actually deleted a scene which literally showed Vin Diesel's body blowing up in Bora Bora with arms and legs being thrown about.
Oh shit! They were mad.
Yeah, and then they ended up deleting it in the possibility that maybe he would come back for another one.
So they wanted to sort of singe the bridge, but not completely
they
burn it.
You know, Amber, when you're real mad at someone and sometimes you're told, write a letter to that person and then put that letter, in a fire and just, so you're expressing yourself in words, but then you're not gonna put that on them, but it makes you feel better. They went ahead and shot a scene where
it was cathartic.
Blew him up, and then they're like, okay, I feel better. We're going to trash that scene, but I know that it was made and it's in my brain and it feels better.
They kept it for themselves. They just have it on their phones whenever they really want to decompress for the day.
Yeah. Whenever they need to finish. Yeah, exactly.
There aren't a lot of women in this movie. They're not hypersexualized, but they don't also have a huge role or part to play, so that's fine. The white lady does get called a bitch twice by Samuel L. Jackson. And I get that it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And I know it's played for laughs. He's like, you should shoot that bitch while you have the chance. And then he says, I told you you should have shot that bitch when you had the chance. And then he shoots.
After he'd shot that bitch,
her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying it now a whole bunch. But it doesn't feel right. So that seemed unnecessary.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, he should have shot her when he had the chance.
Yeah, and then it was funny that essentially Gibbons said, I told you so.
He does. After shooting
he
her.
does it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not mad at this movie. It's weird. It's bizarre. I'm not necessarily recommending it, but it was entertaining.
No, it's not good.
Oh, it's not good.
But it's flawed in so many ways that it actually makes it kind of entertaining in its own absurdist way.
Yeah. So ugly it's cute, kind of.
Yeah, so let's break it down. On a rock scale, regrettable, outstanding, crazeballs, K or solid.
Oh, Jesus.
What would you say, Ember?
It's like a crazeballs K, you know?
Yeah.
It's silly. It made me laugh. I exclaimed at it. Mm-hmm, but it's not a true crazeballs.
No, it's got those crazeballs moments. And like the meta view of it is especially crazeballs. But it's not something that the movie did intentionally, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, crazeballs seems about right.
Megan, do you have an Abby story or a Maddie story or a together them story?
I do have a story. I I did up my nails with nail gels a few weeks ago, and on two of them I had these lovely kind of like glittery rainbows, which were fun. And the kids both thought this was terribly entertaining, and so they would take my nails and look at them. And Maddie and I were sitting at lunch, and she was finishing up, and she kind of took the two rainbow fingers. And she kind of was like looking at them and enjoying them. And then her face got kind of sad all of a sudden. And she said, 2 rainbows, but I'm 2.5. And I admit that I blurt laughed at her to the, like, in a way that actually, like, she started a little bit because, like, what a ridiculous thing to say. Like,
wow.
You want me to have 2.5 rainbows on my fingers because you are 2.5.
2 is too few rainbows if you're trying to have the number of rainbows that her years are.
Exactly. Kids are very, very concerned about these halves. And so Maddie is 2.5. And the fact that I didn't have 2.5 rainbows was really upsetting to her anyway. I was highly entertained by that nonsense.
It's a lovely moment to laugh at your niece.
Mm-hmm. Amber, do you have any recommendations?
Oh, no, it's so hard.
Yeah. Amber, my recommendation is going to be a little goofy, but I got back into Vampire Survivors recently. They have some new characters that you can be and new weapons that you can like combine and upgrade, and a bunch of new levels. So like, if you like enjoyed playing Vampire Survivor for a little while, and then got detached from it, like, good for you. Maybe don't get back into it. But if you do, there's some more shit in there for you.
You're a monster.
Yes, I am.
I recommend being nice to people in the service industry.
Yes, good idea.
Just going to put that out there as a thing that I'm thinking about right now. Just because, I had my hair cut today.
It looks lovely.
Oh, why, thank you. It's not something I necessarily enjoy having done because it involves, being touched and small talk. Mm-hmm. But just listening to her talk about, she doesn't like to work on Saturdays in the summer. She takes Saturdays, so she has, a 3-day weekend so she can enjoy the weather, because in the winter she doesn't ski, she doesn't snowboard, she doesn't do any of the winter stuff. But the summer here is so beautiful, she likes to take advantage of it. Well, there are people who like their hair appointments on Saturdays, and it's the only convenient time for them. And boy, do they let her know how inconvenient it is for her to do that and how selfish it is. And it makes her think, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe this is selfish.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, when people come at me with that kind of energy when I worked in the service industry, I realize they don't see me as a person. Every time somebody comes at me with that energy, they are decreasing my humanity by some percentage point based on just how uncivil or angry they feel comfortable being at me.
Yeah.
And a haircut isn't even something they need. This isn't an essential service.
Nope.
And
I mean, it takes essential skill and
it certainly does.
Talent, for sure.
She is a skilled provider of a service, but it is not a service they need.
Yeah.
And
you can't demand it of people because that's fucking rude.
And it is 3 months out of the year. So just plan accordingly, kids. Most people don't get their hair cut more than, like, especially women don't get their hair cut more than, 4 months apart, generally speaking, depending on your hairstyle. And she's also a specialty hair provider. Mm-hmm. She does curly hair. So wouldn't you want to be nice to maybe the one person in the state who can properly cut your hair? It's one day. Honestly, we should all be working 4-day weeks. That's a much saner way to do things. And wow, just the fact that she expressed any level of appreciation for me saying you do you is deeply saddening to me.
Is upsetting because that means that's not what she gets most of the time. Yeah.
And I've been reading a bunch of news stories about just how much worse things have gotten for people in the service industry, from flights to just anyone working in a restaurant or food service, and how uncivil people have become. And everybody's struggling. Everybody's had to deal with the same pandemic. And honestly, some people have had to deal with a lot more than other people. And so even if you're having a really, really bad day and it's hard for you to be even just civil, fucking suck it up.
Yeah.
Be civil, because you don't know what their day's been like. And it makes a huge difference for them because they have to deal with a lot of people. So just take a deep breath and chill. If you find yourself edging into being a dick to somebody who is not at fault for your feelings.
Who's not, who you are dealing with in a limited way that has not, I got nothing, Amber. I agree.
It's extra funny to say this because every single person who listens to this is a much better person than I am. So there's no reason for me to be saying this to our audience.
Stop being a fucking dick.
Yeah, TJ, you asshole. Stop being so awful to other human beings. Dan, I'm looking at you.
Dan, that Ted Lasso attitude of yours just gotta go.
Yeah.
Good point.
You're welcome for wasting your time. Meghan, this has been delightful.
Yes, Amber.
Have a good weekend this year.
Absolutely, Amber. Yes, you too. I'll end like I always do by saying, Amber, the rock in the brook secretly believes itself to be a precious stone.
Maybe it is.
It could be.
And why is it secret?
Listen.
Why is it keeping the secret? Is the rock ashamed?
Shh.
Is this suggesting that people who think that they're special or pretty and keep it to it's like a shameful to think, I have nice hair, but I shouldn't say it.
I shouldn't
say it. I mean, I really like I have really nice eyelashes, but I'm ashamed.
I couldn't possibly.
And in reality, it's just a fucking stone. So that stupid person who thinks that they're pretty or special is just deluding themselves while secretly keeping it to themselves.
Yeah.
That's not a nice saying. Can't you? The rock at the bottom of the stream secretly believes itself to be a precious stone, but it's just a stupid fucking rock.
Why we step on it and I hate it.
That's not a nice thing. It's just covered in scum and fish poop. That is not a nice saying. The rock in the stream who thinks itself normal is really a precious stone. That's nicer. You are a precious stone. You're precious to someone. You can be precious to yourself. All that really matters is how you see yourself. Ultimately, fuck the person who's looking at that rock who secretly believes itself to be precious and thinking, jackass.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Meghan.
Bye, Embers.